This is Professor R.M. Mahendrakar. Today, I'm going to explain to you all about the soil as an Edaphic factor. Soil is one of the most important ecological factors in the environment. It is the reservoir of biogenic salts and minerals which are essential for living organisms. The word soil is derived from the Latin word solum, meaning earthy material in which the plants grow. Soil is defined as the unconsolidated top or superficial layer of earth crust laying below any aerial vegetation and undecomposed dead organic remains and extending down to the limits to which it affects the plant growing about. The science which deals with the study of soil is called pedology or edapology, or in simple terms, soil science. Soil is a stratified mixture of inorganic organic material. The inorganic or mineral constituents of the soil are derived from the parent rock, and the organic material is added through living organism activities. The process of formation of soil is called pedogenesis. The soil is formed by two important processes. One is weathering of rocks, and the second is the addition of organic matter through humidification and mineralization, and biological factors. Now let us see the composition of soil. Soil is composed of mineral matter, organic matter, soil water, soil air, and living organisms. The percentage of all these is given in this pie chart. Now the mineral particles almost forms about 45% of the soil. Organic matter, it forms about 5%. And inorganic matter, the humus is 80%, roots is 10%, organisms is 10%. And 25% of the total soil is composed of water, and the remaining 25% of soil is composed of air. Now we shall see the soil quality. The soil quality depends upon the fertility of the soil, the texture of the soil, the structure of the soil, the humus content, and air-water relationship. Mueller has recognized two kinds of humus, more and mull. More humus is acidic. It is abundant in fungi and low in bacterial content. Fungal mycelium may help to bind together the particles of the humus and decomposing litter into matted layer. More is deficient in calcium and it develops on sandy soil under conifers. Mull is on the other hand slightly alkaline or neutral and is abundant with bacteria. It does not show layer differentiation because of abundance of earthworms which promote mixing of organic and mineral material. Intermediate between the two types of humus is the modder, which has a richer and varied fauna. Now let us study about the soil profile. Soil profile is the term used for vertical section of mature soil up to the parent material to show the different layers of the soil. Now here you can see that this is a area which has been excavated. Now here you can see the different layers of the soil. So this whole study of this whole structure, starting from the top layer to the parent rock, all this comprises about the soil profile. Regolith, it is the layer of the unconsolidated solid material covering the bedrock of the planet. Now this is the bedrock. Whatever the soil formation that has occurred through the different process of weathering and mineralization and humification, all this region constitutes the regolith. Regolith has two components, the solemn and the saprolite. Solemn includes the upper horizon with the most weathered portion of the profile of the soil profile, and this is the region which contains the humus, the topsoil and the subsoil. The saprolite is the least weathered portion that lies directly above the solid consolidated bedrock but beneath the regolith. Now let us see the different stratification of the soil profile. Now the soil profile shows 6 distinct regions. Those are the O horizon, A horizon, E horizon, B horizon, C horizon, and R horizon. O horizon, it is the surface horizon that is composed of organic material at the various stages of decomposition. Now this region is very nutritive for the plants. The surface layer is about 0 to 2 feet depth. It is dark in color and soft in texture because of the humification and mineralization. It is composed of leaf litter, leaves, needles, twigs, mosses, lichens that are not decomposing. Humus-rich organic material of the plant and animal origin are in the stage of decomposition in this O horizon. The next is the A horizon. A horizon is the topsoil or the biomantle horizon. It is found at the depth between 2 to 10 feet. Now this whole region is the topsoil. Biomantle consists of most biological productive layers. It is composed of earthworms, fungi, and bacteria. And depending upon the percentage of fungi and bacteria, this topsoil, as I've told you earlier, they are of two types. It may be either more or mull. It largely consists of minerals, sand, slate and clay, and humus. It consists of smallest and finest soil particle. Now you can just observe here the image which is showing the nature of the topsoil. Now the third horizon is the E horizon. It is also called as the leaching layer horizon. It is found between the A horizon and the B horizon. It is found at the depths between 10 to 15 feet. It is light in color as you can see in the image, and it is mostly composed of sand and silt. It is poor in mineral and clay content because of leaching, resulting in loss of plant nutrients to the water table. Hence it is called leaching layer. The soil particles are larger than the A horizon but smaller than B horizon. The next is the B horizon. It is the fourth layer. It is called the subsoil horizon. This is found at the depths between 15 to 30 feet. Now in the image you can see there, after that leaching layer, whatever the region you are seeing, it is the subsoil region. It is rich in clay and mineral like iron and aluminium. Some organic materials may reach here through leaching process. Plant roots can extend into this layer. You can see here the roots are reaching up to the subsoil region. It is reddish brown in color due to oxides of iron and clay. The fifth horizon is the C horizon. It is called saprolite horizon. It is found at the depth between 30 to 48 feet. This layer is least affected by weathering and have changed the least since their origin. Here the soil is made up of large rocks or lumps of partially broken rocks. It is devoid of organic matter due to it being so far down into the soil profile. The sixth horizon is the R horizon. It is the bedrock horizon. It is found at the depth of 48 and plus feet below. It is composed of the parent rock. It is the deepest soil horizon in the soil profile. Now you can see in this image here that whatever the hard rock you are seeing at the bottom, that is the bedrock region. It is form of continuous mass of bedrock. The color of this region is of the original rock of the area. Now, let us see about the importance of soil. Soil, as I've told you, it is the most nutritive medium for the plants to grow because soil provides water, air, and mineral nutrients to the land plants. It also acts as a substratum for a variety of organisms like bacteria, fungi, and many kinds of animals and plants. It is in this soil that the roots penetrate deep and anchor the plants into the soil. It is the site for decomposition of plants and animals. That is, whenever the dead material of the plant or animal lie on the ground, it is decomposed by the decomposing organisms and all the matter is again recycled back into the soil. Also, soil is a important provider of water, minerals, and fossil fuel to man. Now we shall study about the types of soils. There are basically four types of soil. The first is the sandy soil. It is most extensively used as construction material. It consists of particles of rocks and hard minerals such as silicon dioxide. They are the largest type of soil particles where each particle is visible to the naked eye. The large relative stable sand particle size increases soil aeration and improves drainage in tight soil and creates plant growth supporting qualities or tilts. The second type of soil is the silt. Silt is a sediment material with an intermediate size between sand and clay. It is carried by water during floods in forms of fertile deposits on valley floors. The particle size of silt ranges from 0.002 and 0.06 mm. Silt is non-plastic or low plasticity material due to its fineness. Because of this fineness, when it is wet, it becomes a smooth mud that you can easily form balls of it or other shapes in your hand, and when silt soil is very wet, it blends seamlessly with water to form fine runny poodle of mud. The third type of soil is the clay soil. Clay particles are the finest of all soil particles, measuring fewer than 0.002 mm in size. It consists of microscopic and submicroscopic particles derived from the chemical decomposition of rocks. Clay is a fine-grained cohesive soil. They stick together readily and form a sticky or gluey texture when they are wet. Clay is made up of over 25% clay, and because of the spaces found between the clay particles, clay soil holds a high amount of water. Clay expands when it comes in contact with water and shrinks when it gets dried. Compared to sand particles, which are generally round, Clay particles are thin, flat, and covered with tiny plates. Organic clay is highly compressible and its strength is very high when dry. That is why it is used in construction as mud mortar. The fourth type of soil is the loam soil. Actually, loam is a mixture of clay, sand, and silt and benefits from the quality of these three different textures, favoring water retention, air circulation, drainage, and fertility. These soils are fertile, easy to work with, and provide good drainage. Depending upon their predominant composition, they can be either sandy or clay loam. The way the other particles combine in soil makes the loam into clay loam, silt loam, and sandy loam. For instance, a soil that is 30% clay, 50% sand, and 20% silt, it is called sandy clay loam soil. Now we shall see the ecological categories of plants. There are five ecological categories of plants based upon which type of soil they grow. Now, for example, the halophytes. These are very common in those areas where the river meets the sea. Here, the water is slightly saline, and in such saline water condition, these plants grow. So, hence, they are commonly called as halophytes. The next is the psammophytes. Psammophytes are the plants which grow on sandy soil. The third is the lithophytes. Lithophytes are the plants that grow on rocky surfaces. Now you might have seen in rocky areas, plants are growing. So most of them will be either the mosses or the lichens or the ferns. All these are some of the examples for these lithophytes. Then we have chasmophytes. Chasmophytes are the plants which grow in rock crevices. These are even found growing on the crevices of your wall. The most common species that is growing in such conditions are usually these ficus members. You might have seen that some plants are growing in the windowsill of your house. You may see some plants growing in the crevices of your buildings. And in nature, in the rock crevices, also these plants grow. So all such plants which grow in the crevices of rocks or walls, these are called as chasmophytes. Then oxalophytes. Oxalophytes are the plants which are found growing on acidic soils. So these are the five ecological categories of plants based upon the type of soil and condition they grow. Now let us see some of the important edaphic factors which affect the vegetation. There are total 6 edaphic factors. The first one is the soil moisture, second is soil reaction, third is soil nutrients, fourth is soil temperature, fifth is soil aeration or soil atmosphere, and the sixth is the biotic component of the soil. Soil moisture It is the moisture that is absorbed by the plant. Plant absorb a small quantity of rainwater and dew directly, but they take a large quantity of water from the soil. The ability of the soil moisture is influenced by many conditions. Some of these are the distance of the water table from the soil surface. That is, nearer the water table, the soil will be more moist. The more distant the water table from the soil surface, the soil becomes dry. The rate at which the water percolates downward, that it depends upon the physical state of the soil. The next is the size of the soil particles. As I have told you earlier, the loamy soil is very well suited because it has the proper assumption, proper concentration of all the three types of soil, that is the clay, sand and silt, and the amount of annual rainfall. Now this annual rainfall plays a very important role in the distribution of vegetation. The areas which have maximum rainfall, you will see that there are thick evergreen forests growing there. And as the rainfall decreases, we have these different types of forest. We have moist deciduous forest, dry deciduous forest, pole forest, and arid forest. The water that is held in the soil is found in following forms. The gravitational water. Now, soon after the precipitation of water, that is after the rains, the water starts getting percolated deep into the earth crust and goes beyond the root zone area. This water we call it as gravitational water. Capillary water. This is the water that is present in between the soil particles. This water is readily available for the plants so that they can absorb it, and this capillary water should be present in the root zone area of the plant. The hygroscopic water. Now this is the amount of water that is held by the soil particles by strong cohesive forces, and the roots cannot break these forces, hence hygroscopic water is not available to the plants. Water vapor. Now this is the water in form of vapor present in between the soil particles. And chemically combined water, that is the water forms chemical components through reactions in the soil. This water also is not available to the plants. So the only water that is available to the plant is the capillary water in the root zone area. Now the total amount of water that is present in the soil, we call it as the hollard. The water that is easily available to the plants, that part of water we call it as crescent. And in the hollard region, whatever the water that is unavailable to the plants, like the gravitational water, the hygroscopic water, the chemically combined water, now these are not available to the plant. So this water that is present in the hollard region, that we call it as ichard. The second Edaphic factor is the soil reaction. This Edaphic factor influences the growth and distribution of the plant. The soil may show acidic, alkaline, or neutral reaction. The soil which is acidic, in such soil, the plant species like rhododendron, canberries, they thrive very well. Even some field crops such as barley, maize, soybeans, tomato, potato flourish very well in slightly acidic soils. Soil acidity is important in many ways, in the behavior of the soil solutes and in the relation of root to the soil. Soil acidity affects the availability of ions like iron, manganese, potash, and other ions. In acidic soil, iron and manganese are available in appreciable quantities. The second type of soil is the alkaline soil. The alkalinity of the soil is due to the accumulation of calcium, sodium, and manganese salts in the soil. In alkaline soil, there are some plants which thrive very well. For example, the ferns and the beech tree, they grow very well in alkaline soil. Thus, the reaction of the soil influences the absorption of water and soil solutes by the roots through its direct effect on inhibition and permeability of root cell membranes. Now here we have taken an example of the lawn grass. Now here you see if the soil is slightly acidic to neutral, the lawn grass thrives very well. But if the soil is alkaline, you'll see intermediate growth. Then in very alkaline and highly alkaline conditions, you'll see the grass doesn't grow properly at all. Same is the case if the soil becomes acidic or very acidic. Hence, lawn grass grows well only in those soil where it is slightly acidic to neutral. The third Edaphic factor is the soil nutrient. The nature and availability of the soil solutes are fundamentally important from the standpoint of plant nutrition. Normally, inorganic solutes are absorbed by plants in ionic forms. Humus, a dark amorphous substance formed by partial degradation of dead organic remains, is an important source of mineral and organic nutrients of plants. The fertility of the soil is usually correlated with its humus content. Humus is the main source of nutrients for soil microorganisms and green plants. But there are certain plants who thrive in adverse conditions. Like there are some plants which grow very well in the saline soil, where the percentage of salt is very high. Such plants are called halophytes or salt-loving plants. The another type of plants are the calciphytes. The calciphytes are the plants which grow very well in calcium-rich soil. These are also called as calcicoles. And the plants which do not grow well in the calcium-rich soils, they are called as calcifuges or oxalophytes because they require slightly acidic soil. Now the next factor is the soil temperature. Soil temperature in combination with other Edaphic factor influences the properties of soil itself and plant as well. Low temperature reduces the rate of water and solute absorption by roots. Soil temperature is also important in the sense that it plays an important role in determining the geographical distribution of plants on Earth. Soil temperature is affected by air temperature, the intensity of sunlight, and the angle at which the sun strikes the surface of the soil. Daily duration of sunlight, the amount of soil moisture, and many other factors also influence soil temperature. The fifth Edaphic factor is the soil atmosphere. In soil, the spaces between the soil particles are called pore spaces. They contain air. Soil air contains slightly lower proportion of oxygen and higher one of carbon dioxide than atmospheric air contains. Oxygen in the soil is necessary for life of microorganisms and other soil inhabitants. Oxygen content of the soil is also an important factor in seed germination. Waterlogged soil are deficit in oxygen, hence in waterlogged condition the plants do not grow properly, and we call this condition as physiological dryness. The sixth Edaphic factor is the soil microorganisms. Soil show marked effect on soil fertility. Decomposing agents such as bacteria, fungi, and many other convert dead organic matter into humus, free organic compounds, and organic ions, and thus make the nutrients available to the plants. Some soil microorganisms secrete essential or beneficial substances, including growth hormones, and some of them secrete toxic substances in the soil which show marked effect on the growth and distribution of plants. Some of the blue-green algae like nostoc, anabina, cylindrospermum are beneficial to the higher plants because they fix atmospheric nitrogen into nitrogenous compounds that are utilized by higher plants. The animals of burrowing habits also play an important role in the soil by turning over the soil. Earthworm increases the fertility of the soil by adding excretory material to it and also by making it loose. Local distribution of plant communities in different regions also bring about changes in the composition and fertility of the soil in those regions. So my dear students, in today's class we have seen how the soil is formed, what are the compositions of the soil, the quality of the soil, the soil profile, and the edaphic factors of the soil. Thank you. Take care of your health.